to have a life that's fulfilled, it has to be about more than survival. It has to be about being able to experience well-being. And well-being is a function of being available to reality. Well-being is a function of recognizing, that not to be aware that you're aware is ignorance. It's ignorance, because if you're not aware that you're aware, it means you're ignoring awareness and paying attention to thinking and paying attention to how you feel and paying attention to the sensations in the body and paying attention to all the games that people play. Trying to play the games and be a winner. Try and perform so you're worth something. When you do the things to try and be secure that don't really change the bottom line in terms of the condition you're experiencing yourself in, you just suffer more. You make attempts. You try and figure it out, right? Everybody's trying to figure life out. What should I do? I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful. I want to be satisfied. What should I do? Where should I go? What should I get? Right? What should I do? Where should I go? What should I get? But not who should I be, right? People don't relate to getting the experiences they want of well-being by experiencing, a state of being that provides that. Meditation is, what we're practicing is experiencing a state of being instead of a state of doing, right? Everybody believes that you have to do, just do it, right? Like Nike says, right? Everybody believes you just have to keep doing it, right? And everybody believes that if you keep doing it and you get it right, you get it figured out, you'll get what you want, right? And so everybody's busy doing that day and night, wearing their body out, driving themselves crazy with this game of life, trying to get it to pay off. And every once in a while, you have this experience that seems something like happiness. Every once in a while you have this experience that, well, maybe this is happiness. When I got that brand new car, felt pretty good. And I identified with the car, so I figured people who see me in the car will like me. People who see me in the car will understand I'm a good person, that I'm an attractive person because I have a new car, right? You don't necessarily think those thoughts per se, right? But that's the way the experience happens, right? And so you feel good, you have the new car, and then maybe this is happiness, Maybe I should get more things, new things, right? Maybe I'll look on Amazon because I could get shit right away now. I don't have to even wait for it, right? So that's the game people are playing, right? But the problem with that is it doesn't deliver, and we don't even know that it doesn't deliver because we don't really know what happiness is, right? Because as a personality, it's not available. So we think we know what happiness is, like we think a lot of things, right? And we think we know what happiness is, it's getting what you want. So we just keep playing that game over and over again. And every once in a while, we have this experience, right, of gratification, right? But it's as close as we can get to anything called happiness, so we think, oh, that must be happiness. Feels pretty good. Never lasts. As soon as I had that car for 2 weeks, it didn't seem to deliver anymore on my happiness. So I started looking around for what the next thing is. Maybe it's a trip somewhere. Maybe I should buy a new house. Maybe I should get a new relationship. Maybe a nose job will be the thing, Maybe if I get some cryptocurrency, There's so many ways to play the game, isn't there, right? Maybe if I take some LSD, that's a good idea. Or ketamine, right? You can get ketamine now on, you can get ketamine on the internet, right? You can get psychedelics. Maybe if I go have a guided psychedelic trip, maybe that'll do it, right? So, and can you see it's a never-ending thing? You keep, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Oh, I haven't gone to a Taylor Swift concert yet. Maybe that's the thing. Oh, now you can get it on a movie and watch it at home, so I don't even have to leave my house to go to the Taylor Swift concert. Maybe that's the thing, convenient. So this is about something that does work. This is about something that you can count on for sure, with certainty, right? But it's not free lunch. It's not going to happen like Amazon. It's not going to be something that you experience because you got what you want. It's something that you experience because you've always had what you always wanted. You've always had what you always wanted, right? but you were ignoring it. You were paying attention to something else. So now in meditation, we're going to relax the physical body. We're going to get the mind calm enough that we can see what's going on instead of just what we think about it, right? You got to get the mind calm enough to be able to turn on seeing instead of just thinking. And so then if I practice meditation consistently, I start to wake up and see things as they are, including my own mind, right? Including the failed process that I've been involved in for so long that never paid off. And so now I'm practicing every day, sitting, being still, being silent. And when I sit and be still and be silent, I'm being like I am. I'm being like I am. I'm being like my awareness is. My awareness is always still, it never moves, and it's silent. So I'm being like I am. And when I be like I am, it's easier to recognize the awareness and easier to recognize that the awareness is the bottom line. You know, the awareness is the bottom line. That saying from Advaita Vedanta, which I will be repeating in this class forever, right? Sat Chit Ananda, right? And this ancient teaching of non-duality that comes from Hinduism called the Advaita Vedanta teaching, right? The things I'm saying here come from these teachings. I'm just saying it in normal talk instead of talking cryptic, right? Instead of talking in Sanskrit. I'm just saying it in normal talk, right? But that one-liner that comes from the ancient wisdom of the Advaita Vedanta teachings, it says Sat Chit Ananda. And they say that's the whole thing. That's reality right there, Sat Chit Ananda. Well, what does that mean? Sat means existence, Chit means consciousness or awareness, and Ananda means happiness, peace, satisfaction, and well-being. So basically the teaching is you exist, and what you exist as is consciousness, no matter what you think. What you exist as is consciousness, and when you're being what you are as consciousness, the experience you have is happiness, satisfaction, well-being, and peace. So your awareness never changes, right? So you get to experience consistency, right? Well, one of the things that people, on the way over here, I was listening to a song on the radio, and one of the lines from the song is, I wish everything could stay the same. You know, when you were in love with your partner, right, you wished everything could stay the same. Now, you didn't want things to change because if they changed, they might not love you anymore. If they changed, something could interfere with this experience you were having, and you didn't want that to happen, so you wanted to keep it the same, right? So you got married. Didn't work, right, because it didn't change anything. Everything keeps changing even though you're married, right? So 10 years after that, the other person that's your partner is going to be different. And you're going to be different, right? And the relationship is going to be different, right? So if you can't discover what real love is, if you can't experience and practice real love, you'll be coping with each other, you know? Your relationship will be something that you're surviving instead of something you're enjoying, right? But if you discover true love, if you discover real love, which is the nature of your real self, the nature of your authentic self is love. Why is that the case? Because your authentic self recognizes spontaneously and naturally that everything is it. You know, when your awareness is realized, you have transcendental wisdom and you experience that everything is it. Everything is related. You're related to everything. Everything is you. And other people are you. Their awareness is literally exactly the same as you. There is no difference, right? So when you experience that, you experience an affinity with everything and everybody, right? You have no enemies. You have an experience of affinity with everything and everybody, and that's love. What's love mean? It means that me and you are the same. How could I not love you? I am you. How could I not love you? If I don't love you, I don't love me, right? So when you start to see things the way they are, you have a natural sense of morality. You wouldn't hurt or kill anything because you'd be hurting and killing yourself, right? So that's a natural sense of morality. Love thy neighbor as thyself, right? Love thy neighbor as thyself, unless you're married to them, and then you can't, right? But we don't practice that, you know, thy will be done. We don't practice that. Love thy neighbor as thyself. We don't practice that. We talk about it, you know, we go to church to listen to sermons about it and then go back into being stupid and angry, right? So meditation can help you come out of that, to start to wake up and experience your true nature and start to experience the love that you are and start to experience an affinity with everything and start to experience a state of well-being. Dr. Richie Davidson, he was a neuroscientist from Harvard University, and he decided he was going to study meditation, and he was going to put monks and people that practice meditation for decades in brain scan machines to see if their brain was different from the average person's brain, right? And the research indicated very clear, without any doubt, that somebody who practices meditation has a different brain. The structure of it is different and the function of it is different, right? And when they went into detail to look at how is it different, they discovered that an area of the brain called the amygdala, right, which is like a walnut-sized area of the brain that's in the brain, the way the amygdala functions is it takes incoming data and screens it for threats. Right? And so the amygdala, they call it amygdala hijacking, right? It hijacks your attention, hijacks your emotions, hijacks your behavior whenever it perceives a threat in the world coming in, right? This keeps people in a state of concern, keeps the body in a contracted state, ready to run or attack all the time. And this amygdala is misinterpreting a lot of the data, right? Why? Well, it's okay to interpret anything that's a threat to the physical body and do something to avoid that. That's okay. That's what the function of the survival programming is. The problem is the brain is not awake, and it only functions with the data given to it in the program running, right? And so the program that's running is not only recognizing threats to the physical body, it's recognizing threats to the personality, right? It's recognizing threats to this entity that you think you are, and whenever this entity that you think you are feels threatened, which can be as little as somebody staring at you too long, right? As little as somebody staring at you too long, as little as somebody not move out of the way soon enough when you're walking in that direction. That's all it takes for your brain to go off, right? And so we're living in this state of being constantly overstimulated. Our nervous system is constantly stimulated to be concerned and on the lookout for who's coming to get me now. You know, and it gets us into this hyperstimulation, this hyper brain activity where you can't relax, you can't sleep, right? You can't enjoy yourself, right? You get migraines, you know, the body starts to suffer, you get migraines, constipation, diseases, you know, cancer, which is the body eating itself, right? So these are all the areas of dis-ease that occur when you're living in this condition in which you think you're at war all the time. You know, one of the things my teacher said the other day is he said, people often come to me and say, well, what about social justice? Shouldn't we be involved in the world, saving the planet and social justice and ending war and all the rest of it, you know? And what the teacher said is that there's nothing wrong with any of that. Your intentions are good, right? But how can you be of use to anybody else when you're at war with yourself? How can you be of use to anybody else when the thought process that's going on in your brain has you constantly annoyed, constantly ill at ease, constantly concerned, constantly worried, constantly in conflict with yourself about what you're doing that doesn't work, that you can't stop doing, right? In terms of the way you eat and the lack of exercise and the way you don't take care of your body and the way that you really don't take care of your life, right? So that's the condition that people are experiencing, and it causes suffering. You know, like the Buddha said, life is suffering. He didn't mean that life itself is suffering. He meant the life, given the way you're living your life, you suffer. Given the way that you're experiencing yourself in your life, you suffer. And then he said, well, what's the source of suffering, right? The second noble truth, what's the source of suffering? He said, desire. That doesn't really communicate it exactly correct. It is desire, right? But what he meant by that is the desire for things to be different. That's the source of suffering, the desire for things to be different, you know? It's like all of us could literally say, if I could change the world and everybody I know to be the way they should be, I'd be happy, right? That's a pretty sick idea, right? If I could change the world and make the world be the way it should be and make everybody that I know be the way they should be, then I could be happy. But until that's the case, I can't be happy. Well, you're screwed. You're screwed then, But the other way to deal with it is if I could allow the world to be the way it is and allow everybody else to be the way they are and allow me to be who I really am, I could be happy. That'll work. That'll work. The other one won't work. It just can never work. You can never be happy and satisfied and fulfilled as a personality. It's impossible, literally impossible. So we're practicing meditation to gradually come out of this condition, right? Come out of this condition in which we're considering ourselves to be something that doesn't exist and considering ourselves to be the body, which isn't the case. Come out of that condition and start to experience reality as it is. Now, a lot of people are saying that these teachings and practices are really about making contact with reality. Instead of living in your head, living in a dream, sleeping and dreaming about what you consider to be reality, right? You can wake up and actually experience your life. Actually be in your life instead of your head. Actually be present to what's happening instead of what happened in the past and what might happen in the future. Because that's the only place your life exists. If you want to experience your life, you have to be there for it. You can't be thinking about it. You've got to actually be available to experience in your life. And when you're available to experience in your life and you know what you are, right? Life is an enjoyable celebration, right? Because when you know what you are and you know that what you are is the awareness itself, not the physical body, right? Not the personality. When you know that's the case and you're experiencing yourself that way and you're living your life that way, right? Life is a lot of fun because nothing can happen to you. You're invincible. Awareness has no form, has no shape, doesn't exist in time and space, right? Nothing can happen to it. Even death can't happen to it, right? Unbelievable, isn't it, right? Yeah, it sounds like an unbelievable possibility. How can that, is it really true that I don't die? Is it really true that I can be happy anytime? It's not a function of circumstances? Yes, it is really true. And you can either take my word for it, which I don't recommend, or you can practice meditation and you'll see it for yourself. And then you don't have to take anybody's word for it. If you start to experience spontaneous happiness, then you're on to something, right? You didn't have to buy anything to be happy. That's a new experience. For a lot of people, right? Yeah, so the key to this class is I'm talking the way I'm talking because I want to stimulate you and motivate you and inspire you. The word inspire means breathe life into. I want to breathe some life into you. I want to inspire you and motivate you to do this practice every single day without fail and do it the way it's meant to be done and study these teachings so you can get related to the things the way they actually are. So you can start to experience your life as an enjoyable reality, right? Instead of something you're struggling to get over with. Start enjoying your life instead of experiencing life as something you're trying to get through, get over with, you know? To be able to be in the moment and relax, to see things as they are. Richie Davidson, after he did all the research on the brains of people who meditate, came to a conclusion. It's a very important conclusion he came to. He said, well-being is a practice. That's a very important conclusion. Well-being is a practice. If you practice meditation, you will begin to experience well-being. And what does that mean? What does that mean? It means that what you want more than anything else is available to you if you do this practice. What is it that you want more than anything else? Right? We're all the same in regard to this. We all want the same stuff. We want to be happy. We want to be satisfied. We want to be in peace. And we want to have the clarity to allow us to see how things work so we can function, right? So we can produce the results. We want to be powerful. What does the word power mean? It means that I'm able to create results and actually manifest those results, produce those results in the world. That's power, right? So we want to be powerful. Nothing wrong with being powerful, right? But you can't be powerful unless you're the source. You can't be powerful until you make contact with the source, and you're not the source. And when you think you're the source, you think you have free will. When you realize the truth, you understand you never had any free will. The only will you had is the will of God. The only will you had is the will that is playing through you, not from you. And if you start to experience that to be the truth, then you have some real power, right? Then you and God are on the same team. Meditation, formal meditation is preparation. Formal meditation is preparation, right? Because if you practice formal meditation, you will be able to be in a state of being, right? Regardless of the noise, regardless of all the activity, right? So you're practicing meditation to prepare yourself to be awake in your life. That's why you're practicing, right? So you start by sitting still and being silent and practicing coming out of your head and being aware of being aware, right? And if you do this consistently enough, then as you do other things, you can practice the same thing. So a common thing that people do is walking meditation, right? And it's a very simple practice. When you're walking, and you will notice if you pay attention, when you're walking, you're thinking, right? When you're driving your car, you're thinking. When you're walking, you're thinking, right? So walking meditation means when you're walking, you watch the body walk. You move your attention away from the thought activity and be aware of the body walking. That's walking meditation. That's all it is. But if you go to practice it, you'll see that it's as challenging as sitting meditation, right? Because you just keep going back and finding yourself thinking again. Thinking is a habit that people have. And they believe that's a necessary way of functioning, and it's not a necessary way of functioning. And so if you practice walking meditation and sitting meditation, eventually you can get to the place where you can practice living meditation, meaning that you wake up in the morning in a state of awareness, right? And you're not looking forward to the end of the day, right? You're being present to what's happening right now. And as you go through your day, the game starts, it's called walking the path. Walking the path means being awake in your life. That's called walking the path, right? So you're practicing being awake in your life. And if you do that, as you go through the day, there will be challenges coming at you, right? And certain things will push your buttons, certain triggers will happen, right? And your brain will go off and your emotions will go off, right? And so, but you couldn't deal with doing that and stay in a state of being at all without having practiced formal meditation. If you practice formal meditation, you're getting yourself ready to be awake in your life. And if you're awake in your life consistently, right, then the things that people are suffering from don't bother you, literally. You know, I can testify that having practiced this for years, as I was mentioning earlier, there's only a few things left that upset me. Only a few. It's just doing my taxes and dealing with computers. Everything else doesn't bother me. So those things become my teachers, right? The things that still upset you become your teachers, because now you're working to stay present and awake when you're in that situation, and stay calm. Stay calm and enjoy your life no matter what's happening.